This is the last video in my series on relationships. And this is for those of you out there that feel like you're the only one working on the relationship. You know, it's like your marriage or partnership's a dumpster fire and you're the only one showing up with a pail of water to put the fire out. And, you know, I want to inform you, you cannot save your relationship by yourself. It takes two people working together and wanting it to work and focusing on their stuff and changing to make the relationship healthy again. You know, we meet someone and it's wonderful and we're all excited and things are great, and you decide that this is your favorite person and you want to be with them, and you set up housekeeping, you get married, whatever, and it's good, and you can go for years and things are good, and you adjust and you change for each other and you grow together and you go the ups and downs, and then life begins to happen. Maybe you have some struggles. You begin to grow apart. And you know, you wake up one day and you think, I feel like I'm living with a roommate. That you're so disconnected that it seems there's nothing there. So you start trying to work on the relationship, and you talk to them, and they make it about them, you know, and you could talk to someone, tell them how you feel and what you need, and then they tell you about, you know, what's going on with them, and you feel like you're not heard because the other person never validated you. And you talk and you talk and you explain what their behavior is doing, and they just continue to do the same old thing, and you begin to have the feelings. We all know the feelings. You've been in any relationship, you have felt these, even healthy relationships, to where you feel neglected, unimportant. Maybe you get angry. You disconnect. You shut yourself off. I'm really good about the silent treatment. And it deteriorates because of these things. And you try to talk to them, and I've heard, you know, the most dangerous thing is when you stop talking. Even an argument, you're still talking. But when the arguments stop and you stop talking and you're going through the motions, the marriage is in survival mode, and it can't live there very long before it falls apart. And if there's been some sort of betrayal or infraction, trust is broken, it takes time to repair that. And if you're the only one trying to repair that, it doesn't work. It does not work. The main problem that happens here is the disconnect, that you drift apart and you become disconnected. At first, you know, you spend hours talking about your strengths, your weaknesses, your aspirations, all of those type of things. And somewhere that stops, because intimacy is the thing that helps us connect. And intimacy is not about sex. It's about knowing yourself and sharing that part of yourself with someone else. And maybe you're capable of doing that, but your partner's not, or your partner gets to where they won't. And there's some things that you can do. You know, marriage is a job, and it has a pretty hefty job description that comes with it. I know that in my life, what spawned these relationship talks was some things going on in my own relationship, and some of the things that I needed to be very aware of, and some behaviors to stop. And so it's about doing the work. And the work that I suggest and that I do myself is I do an inventory. And when we write about stuff, more stuff comes out. I like to say that, you take a pen to paper because it's admitting to yourself. And when you do that, there's more is revealed with the pen and paper than between the heart and head. You can think all you want, try to think it out, but man, when you put it down on the paper and it's in black and white, so you do an inventory. How do you feel? What is it you want or you don't want? Decide what you're willing to do and what you won't do. Don't use can't or can. That's passive. Say I will or will not. And that's directive. Set boundaries. Take care of yourself. Look at your behaviors that might be whittling away at the relationship. It's an inventory. And an inventory is you just take stock of what's there and, get rid of what you can't use, and you try to build on what you have. Maybe there's not enough good stuff to save the relationship, but the writing will tell you whether there is or not. It's like an emotional GPS. If you want to know, you've got a destination. You may not know exactly what that destination is, but you cannot go that direction until you know where you are. If you enter into a GPS, it's going to ask you, where's your location? And that's what the writing does. It helps you know where you are with the relationship. Are you done? Maybe you're done. And you just don't want to admit it. You know it, but you hadn't quite admitted it to yourself. That's what the writing will show you. You write about your fears. You have to be truthful. And then you have to have the courage to be truthful with the other person. And it's hard. Very hard for me because, you may get punished by the silent treatment or blaming. There may be accusations and an argument. But if you are avoiding being truthful with your partner to keep from getting into an argument, then you're paying a high price for that peace, and that's with your self-respect. Relationships are not easy, and I've certainly had my share of not easy relationships. And I'm going through a season in my marriage currently to where it is a hard season. And I've had to face some of this stuff, and I've had to do some of this stuff, and it's not been easy at all. Then the next thing you have to do is to let go of the outcome. If you've gone to your partner, you've been honest, and they walk out or it all goes to hell in a handbasket, then the relationship was already too insecure to repair. It takes two to put it back together. You have to work on connecting again. They have to be become vulnerable and intimate and talk about their truth. And you have to be vulnerable and intimate and talk about your truth. Seek professional help. I can't be objective. I'm a therapist, but I'm also human. So I pray and I put all of it in God's hands. I do the things that's going to keep me grounded. I reach out and I talk to someone I trust. I work with a whole office of professional people that I can talk to at any moment about what I'm going through. But it takes the work. Are you willing to work to save the relationship? Only if they are willing to work to save the relationship. It's kind of like a crapshoot. Are they going to do it? You have the fear. Is this always going to be the same? Can you forgive the decisions they made? Those are some tough questions. And yet, not being honest and not hashing out what's going on, then maybe you need to get a divorce. I'm not an advocate of divorce. It's the one that I've been through was traumatic, and didn't ever want to go through that again. I used to say, found out what causes divorce. Marriage. And I wasn't ever going to get married again. And I didn't for 13 years. And yet, sometimes that right person comes along and you remarry. And things are really good for a while. And then they become not. Because maybe something happens with the other person. They deal with mental illness. They struggle with addiction. Maybe it's infidelity. Those are some very hard things to walk through. And you have to decide, are you capable of forgiving? Are you capable of changing and setting boundaries? Do you love yourself enough to say, I love you, but I love me more. And I will not be in a relationship with someone that uses drugs or alcohol. I will not be in a relationship with someone who acts violent and yells and tears stuff up. That's domestic violence. Emotional abuse. Only you can save yourself. And that's how you learn to be you on purpose.